internet. Streaming without buffering. Another bright idea from IdeaTech. Get fast, modern IdeaTech internet at ideatech.com.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
With NWKS Radio News, I'm Lucas Kenny. On Sunday, May 17th, around 5:40 p.m., a Northwest Kansas radio listener reported and sent us a photo of a tipped-over semi on the westbound ramp at exit 70, Interstate 70 in Oakley. No other information has been released by the Kansas Highway Patrol. You can find the picture of the location and the tipped-over semi on our local news page. In other news, excitement filled the cool Monday morning air as community members, Colby Play 315 committee members, and the Colby School Board gathered at the Colby Grade School Playground for the official groundbreaking ceremony of the Colby Play 315 project. The ceremony, held at 9 a.m., marked the beginning of Phase 1 of the much-anticipated Community Playground Initiative. The Colby Play 315 project continues to seek community support as fundraising efforts move forward for future phases of the playground development. Find more information at nwksradio.net.
Today will be mostly cloudy with scattered rain showers developing later this afternoon and evening and continuing off and on through Friday morning. A few rumbles of thunder are possible in the late afternoon and evenings both today and tomorrow, but the threat for severe weather is low. Highs will be in the upper 50s and low 60s. Winds southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour, and lows will be in the low to mid 40s. Friday, chances for showers and storms will continue in the morning. Skies will remain mostly cloudy in the afternoon, and temperatures will stay below normal in the middle 60s. Lows will be in the middle 40s. High-pressure ridge over Memorial Day weekend will lead to sunny and warmer and dry conditions. Highs Saturday will be in the upper 70s, lows at the upper 40s, and Sunday and Monday will be warming into the mid to upper 80s with lows 50 to 55. Thunderstorm chances will return on Tuesday and Wednesday. This is meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They eat and have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
We've been serving ag families for generations because we believe farming isn't just a job, it's a legacy. Whether you're just starting out or expanding your operation, F&B Bank has flexible lending solutions designed for you. This is Loan Officer Kennedy Frank at F&B Bank. We're proud to be your hometown ag lender, member FDIC.
Summer starts with savings at Hurl Chevrolet GMC. Right now, get 1.9% financing for 36 months on the 26 GMC Acadia. Drive home a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 with 0% for 36 months, 2.9% for 72 months, or up to $7,000 in rebates. Plus, get $1,000 in rebates on the 2026 GMC Sierra 2500. Summer deals won't last forever. Hurry into Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online anytime at hurlchev.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
I'm old, I'm white, and I don't understand any of it.
The High Plains only local sports talk show, broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sky is everywhere.
Covering it all from the preps to the pros.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City!
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with
Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, and the Insurance Agency.
Let's go to work.
The old one here to Loman Fuller, pulls that one back. They throw down to second base, and out by a mile is going to be Beamer. The cannon of Danny Fisher strikes again, that right arm. Guns down Beamer.
Out to left center, this ball is rocked. Into the gap and off the top of the wall. Two outfielders look at themselves and don't find the baseball. Here comes James Wood, rounding third and heading home. Inside the park, grand slam for James Wood.
Brunson, three-pointer, puts it in! Captain Clutch has come alive. It's a 5-point game. Timeout, Cavaliers. JJ takes off, swing and a drive. Deep left field. That's going to do it in a big way. 3-run walk-off homer.
And good Wednesday morning, everybody. We are back and rolling on the Morning Blitz. Broadcast, as always, on Rocket 102.5 KLOE and WKSradio.net and the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, X, and Facebook. He's Garrett Wellbrock. I'm Ross Volkmer. Glad you're with us here on May the 20th. It was sunny yesterday to kick the day off. It's cloudy today, and I think we're going to see a lot of clouds for the next few days out here on the High Plains. Morning, Garrett. How are things going today?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing well. Hope everyone else is doing well. We got lots to get to on today's program. We'll be joined by Henry Greenstein of DNVR Broncos. We'll have some college baseball talk as well, some news surrounding Kansas baseball and K-State baseball. We'll get to all that coming up a little bit later on in the show. We'll have the discussion on the college football playoff. It has been the big talk for the last couple of weeks now about how big should the college football playoff be. We will talk about that coming up here in our in just a little bit. Here in our first segment, we'll get to some regional baseball and softball recaps in just a matter of moments as well. But did you find anything better to do yesterday with your second day of no school?
Well, I had to work the evening shift, so that gave me something to do. But yeah, just kind of hanging around. Taking it easy, though. It's never bad to take it easy a little bit.
Oh, no. You're perfectly fine. I'm not judging you on any of this stuff. I'm just curious, sometimes you get out, and you're like, well, I got school done. I don't have a job I have to worry about too much yet. So what am I going to do with my
time? Yeah. Go to the gym. That's a big thing I like to do every morning. So I'll do that right after the show today as well. So just, keeping it easy. And then the work yesterday. So
how long is the shift in the evenings for you?
It's 6 hours.
6 hour shift, huh?
Yeah.
On the air of live radio for 6 hours?
No, not the whole time. No, it's only a couple hours live, but I can record stuff too. It's pretty calm.
Pretty easy going. Well, yeah. Good deal. Yesterday, yours truly was covering some softball yesterday. Got home at a decent time. Was watching some college baseball yesterday, a little bit here or there. And remember how I said that I wasn't going to be awake for the starting of the K-State game? I actually made it all the way until the 6th inning. So I lied. I lied about it.
There wasn't much going on till about the 6th. You missed all the good parts.
I know. As soon as I fell asleep, that's when everything happened. Yeah, K-State with a come-from-behind win last night in the 7th and the 8th, scoring 7 combined runs to win that 9-5 over Utah last night, late into the night. Big 12 after dark happening last night over there in Surprise, Arizona. But as always, EpiBank text line is open at 785-899-2222 if you'd like to be part of the Morning Blitz, if you would like to get in a thought, a question, or anything like that, we'd love to hear from you in that. Let's see here. This is from Michael, says, go Boston. Garrett, game tonight is going to be solid with Early and Waka on the bump. So, yes, that's because he's a big Boston fan, and I think that's the game 3 tonight. But you have to remember that Garrett is a Mariners fan. His dad is the Royals fan.
Yes.
But yeah, big game tonight. Is it a big game? I mean, the Royals are trying to avoid a sweep. That's what's trying to happen there. The Royals have lost 7 of their last 8, or sorry, 8 of their 7 of their last 8 or 8 of their last 9.
Yeah, it's not been pretty lately for the Kansas City Royals. I don't know.
They cannot score runs. They cannot do it.
They need to have a serious conversation about their hitting coach. What's he really doing? Because it's not working. Whatever there.
Well, let's face the facts. I mean, didn't they just replace the hitting coach this year?
I'm not sure
they
about
did.
that.
I think they might have replaced him. If not this last year, within the last couple of years, it's been bad. They cannot find a way to hit the ball or I should say score runs. I mean, you just look at all their scores, and this was the way it was last year. You can roll through the Royals and look. I mean, yeah, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think they've lost 8 of their last 9. But you just look at some of the scores. I mean, for what they've scored: 3, 5, 5, 2, 4, 2, 2, 1, 1.
Yeah,
they do not score any runs.
They brought the fences in for them, and they still can't.
That's true. They did. I forgot about that. They did bring the fences in, and they still can't get it there. Oh my gosh! Bring back small ball in Major League Baseball. Everybody has to be able to bunt and run. We got to manufacture runs.
No, but for real, I mean, like that's how the Royals. That's how they won a World Series. You know, they made contact and they put the ball in play, stole bases, and it's like they've almost gone away from that blueprint that worked. It even worked for them a couple of years ago. Like they weren't the best power hitting team in 2024, and they went to the postseason. I don't know why they've decided to change their whole philosophy, but it is not working.
Can you name any team that plays small ball in Major League Baseball? Because I don't know if I could.
The Rays are the only one that comes to my mind, and look at them. They're top of the AL East and probably one of the tougher divisions.
What do I say? If you want to be good, you got to be different. You got to do something different. And guess what? The Rays are being different, and they're actually good. And they shouldn't be because they have the lowest payroll in baseball, or one of the lowest. It's pretty darn sad. So yeah, I guess we'll see, Michael. I wouldn't consider, maybe it's a big game pitching matchup wise, but the Royals, they don't score anything. So, what is it? Does it really matter when you look at it? Today's program, I wanted to get to, real quickly off the bat here, some, regional baseball and softball recaps from yesterday. The postseason resumed for baseball teams, and we got to pass along a big congratulations to Todd Kane and the Colby Eagle baseball team. They are headed to the state tournament. They advanced with a couple of wins yesterday over there at Casey Quigliano Field. 2-1 in extra innings over Smoky Valley in game 1. That was quite the ball game that Colby pulled out there in extras. And then 12-6, they get the win over Beloit in the regional finals to punch their ticket to state. I don't know the last time Colby baseball went to state. I wish I had that factoid. I tried to look it up, but I do not know the last time Colby baseball went to state. But the thing is, it's just, and I'm going to get on my soapbox again. It just doesn't feel like they're going to state. No offense to Colby. It just doesn't feel like that because of the situation that Keisha has put these teams in that go to state. They'll play their first round game on Monday. And as far as I know, I'm guessing, I don't know this for a fact, and I haven't looked up this morning. I'm guessing they're going to be playing in Salina at Dean Evans, and that'll be the first round game. And I don't know against who, but and it may be Emporia or something like that, but they're not playing at the real site state, which would be, K-State in this situation. It doesn't feel like state. It feels like, well, you got to take another step. The state tournament, now it feels like in order to get to the true state tournament, you got to be in the Final Four. That's what it feels like. No offense to Colby. I would still consider it as still a state trip, but just the feeling of it, about where you're playing, it feels like it feels like a super regional. You're at the regionals. Now you're in the super regionals.
Exactly. Yes. No, that's a great point. And credit to what they were able to do in those 2 games yesterday. Talking to Todd Kane, he mentioned that they were going to face kind of a slow, crafty lefty in that first round game. And obviously he gave their offense some fits. And I don't know if there's a pitcher that is quite like a guy that can go in and give you an upset, like a soft lefty that just paints the outside corner. And Smoky Valley almost got it done, but credit to Colby to get by that first round game to eventually go and win the regional.
So there are 3 places that they can play games at for the quarterfinals, which is the next round. They can play at Salina's Dean Evans Stadium. They can play at the Tressler Sports Complex in Emporia. Been there a couple times. It's nice. Or they can play in Overland Park at the Overland Park Blue Valley Schools is where they can play. Those are the 3 spots that they can play. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, that's why if you're a team that qualifies from Western Kansas, and by Western Kansas, I'll just say it, if you're Salina and West, even though that's not, even though that is considered, that's what most people consider Western Kansas. I would not consider that to be true Western Kansas, but I mean, your closest game is you're going to have to go to Dean Evans and play at Salina more than likely. I mean, can you imagine if you're like Elkhart who makes it to state, you got to go all the way to Salina to play at first rate. And what if you're like 26-0? Like, what if you're you have a great record? You're supposed to be able to play close to home. There ain't no way that's happening.
Yeah, that was how it was. I covered a basketball game. I was doing Victoria High School, which is about 10, 15 minutes away from Hayes. And they had their first round of state basketball. And I had to go to Emporia to cover them. And they're playing Lebo. It's a 3-hour drive from Victoria to Emporia, but for Lebo is 20 minutes. And it was basically a home game on a Tuesday afternoon. Because, I mean, it's Tuesday afternoon. Victoria fans, they got work. Not everybody can come down. And Lebo, it's just a calm 20-minute drive. It doesn't make any sense. I also don't know why they don't just why Hayes can't be an option here.
Oh,
Marks Park out here. I mean, that's
close is no offense to your alma mater now. No offense, but they have kind of really hurt us, the Northwest Kansas schools, a lot because they have not, and to an extent, I get why they haven't done it. But they have not allowed their facilities to be used for this. They don't allow Gross Memorial Coliseum to be used as a place for the state tournament. For basketball, they aren't allowing, like you said, Larks Park there to be used as well. They aren't allowing that to be used because they want to make sure it's open for postseason possibilities for their teams. And I understand that, but it really hurts the schools out here because that is a place. And Keisha put this rule in that said you cannot play in a high school facility, which I find, no offense, to be kind of silly, because if I'm from out here in Western Kansas and we could just go play at that brand new high school gymnasium in Hayes, that's a pretty nice facility. That would feel pretty big time to me. Or go play at their baseball fields. That's an all turf field. That can't be all that bad. I've never been there. I'm guessing it's pretty darn nice. I mean, why can't we play at that? But you kind of pigeonhole all the Northwest Kansas schools and Western Kansas schools to this kind of scenario that happens here today.
I agree. I mean, obviously they've used the Colby Event Center for some things, but that could also be a more of a spot for the Western side as well. It's just, it stinks that they can't figure out a better option here than have to go all the way to Salina. Cause I mean, everything's east, and in Keisha's mind, they don't think about the Western side of the state at all.
Got to make a correction here. I misspoke. Colby won 8-2 over Beloit. I said 12-6. I apologize. 8-2 over Beloit. The last time Colby went to state, I'm getting 2. One said 2016. One said 2015. I'm going to roll with, one. So it's been almost 10 years since Colby went to state. Let's see. Lucas, of course, was there to cover the Smoky Valley. Our good friend Lucas Kenny was there to cover the Smoky Valley Colby game for a radio station out of Smoky Valley. He said Smoky Valley's pitcher from the 3rd inning to the 7th went 3 up, 3 down for those 5 innings straight. Not all strikeouts, but a lot of them. Well, I mean, when it's 2-1, I mean, you got to assume that's what's happening, right, Lucas? I mean, if you just look at the box score, there was a lot of great pitching between probably Braxton Withington and Smoky Valley's pitcher. But Colby's grit and toughness that I'm sure they get pushed upon by their head coach, Todd Kane, prevailed in the end, and they're going to the state tournament for the first time in 10 or 11 years, in over a decade. So congratulations to Colby Eagle Baseball on making it to the state tournament, even though it doesn't really feel like it because you're not going to, the big stadium. You're going to play at Dean Evans there in Salina more than likely, but good luck and congratulations on that. Real quick, also yesterday, congratulations, Colby Eagles softball. It was just a fun day there at Young Memorial Park. Softball team slugged its way to a first-round regional win over Holcomb, 16-1. How about this? Lady Eagles, 19 total hits, 3 homers, 6 extra base hits. Morgan Hills had 3 hits, 2 of them home runs and 3 RBI. Multiple girls had multiple hits in that game. Ryler Carter in the circle, 1 hit, struck out 7 for the Lady Eagles as they roll up Holcomb 16-1. Colby now will face Beloit. That is today at 1 o'clock Central Time. That was the interesting thing about yesterday. So it was scheduled to play games yesterday, obviously, in the first round. Higher seed hosted. Then a day off Wednesday, and then play Thursday, and play the semifinals and finals on Thursday around the state with the highest remaining seed on each side of the bracket to host, kind of like what happened with Colby. But what happened with softball was, well, there's a bunch of rain coming apparently the next couple of days. And so I get this call at like 2:45 from Marty Lehman, our Goodland athletic director. He goes, "Hey, Ross, I just want to let you know that it's looking like we're going to move these games up to Wednesday." And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're telling me we're going to get done with this game? I got to get back home and pretty much spend up all night getting prepared for 2 more teams and get all the numbers re-upped for games tomorrow. That's what I thought was going to happen. Unfortunately, Goodland softball did not advance. They were beaten by Lakin at home 4-3. Goodland was up by 2 early in the first, but then a 4-run third inning, another run for Lakin there in the bottom of the third. But that was all the scoring. The last 4 frames were scoreless for both teams, and Lakin prevails 4-3. Goodland just could not get that timely hit, whether it was, within nobody on base or really couldn't get a time hit at all until about the 7th. Then they couldn't get the timely hit with those 2 outs happening there in the bottom of the 7th inning. And so the Cowgirls season comes to an end at 12-11 with a 4-3 loss to Lakin, which shout out to Logan Litton, who's the head coach there for Lakin and his ladies. That's a good young softball team. They don't have a single senior on it. They're going to be pretty darn good in the coming years. But yeah, so Colby softball advances. They'll take on Beloit today in Scott City. That is today. Once again, we're mindful that is today. They've moved it up. That is a 1 o'clock Central Time first pitch I have seen there from Scott City. We'll see if the Lady Eagles, who I think also have a very good shot of advancing to the state tournament with a couple of wins today. So Colby could be sending both softball and baseball teams to the state tournament if Colby High School, if the Lady Eagles do their part here today. So there you go. You've got your quick little regional baseball recap there. Let's dive into real quickly some thoughts on the college football playoff here for the next 7 or 10 minutes or so. So the college football playoff, as we transition, and a hard transition at that, the college football playoff is now looking like it's going to change again. I mean, I think there were thoughts that it was going to change, but the big talk has been, what size are we going to go to? It started out as 4. It jumped to 12, where it sits right now. There's been thoughts of 16. But the Big Ten has been a big proponent of the 2014 playoff here over the last year or so. But they were the only one until the last couple of weeks, where now the ACC, the Big 12, Notre Dame have all jumped on to this now pro 2014 playoff. Garrett, where do you stand on the playoff, college football playoff size, and where do you think it should go?
Well, I think 24 seems a little too much, but it's going to happen nonetheless. So, it's just I think it's the future. Like it's just bound to happen. Now, I don't think it's going to be a thing that happens the next 2 or 3 years. I think this might still be down the road a little bit. It's not the immediate future, like kind of what I'm saying, but I think the ACC and the Big 12 being in on this is in a way smart for them, just for the simple fact of it's been back-to-back years now with the 12-team playoff, and they've gotten 1 team in. They need to find ways to get more revenue, get more teams into the college football playoff. It gives them more leverage then on these decision makings because, hey, we got more than 1 team in. But the problem of this 24-team playoff and happening like right now, maybe next year or 2 years, is the SEC doesn't see the financial upside to it. And the problem is ESPN and SEC, everything goes through the SEC now because of their big deal with ABC and ESPN. So that's the problem with it. But I think it's going to come. It's just a matter of time, really, to this 2014 playoff. I'm not a huge fan, but unfortunately, it's just how it's going to go.
There are multiple factors at work here, and you bring up a great one. This is a money thing. More teams means more games, means more money for all the teams that participate in it and for the conferences that are in it. So it means more money. The reason why I think the SEC is the only team that is dragging their feet on this at this point in time, the only reason I think they're in this position is because they have the corner on the market. As you mentioned, the playoff is owned by ABC ESPN, which is also the head partner of the SEC. And so they get to have all that money. That money can flow through them. That's why the SEC is dragging their feet, and why everybody else is like, well, why don't we all just make this playoff bigger? We'll all get in, and then everyone can make money. But the SEC is like, well, we have this corner on the market. We don't want to give this up. Neither does ESPN or ABC. That's a huge part of it. And there's another big factor that people I don't know are talking about maybe quite enough, but I think we're going to see it here coming up this year. This coming season, SEC goes from 8 conference games to 9 conference games. Do you know what that means for a lot of teams in the SEC? It means another loss. It means another loss. Your 10-win teams all of a sudden become 9-win teams. Your 9-win teams become 8-win teams. You kick out, DeVry or Mercer or whoever you're playing in that one bye game, and you put in another team from your conference level, there's a great chance that you end up with another loss possibly on your record. And so that is a big time issue for the SEC that they got to think about, because their records are not going to be as spotless. And so they're not going to get as many teams in as a 12-team playoff. And I think the coaches know this. I think the SEC coaches know this, like, hey, we need to expand the playoff because our records aren't going to be as good. These other conferences may not be as tough as us, and so they're going to have better records. They're going to get more teams in, and we're not going to have as many. So maybe we do need to expand. I think the coaches in the SEC think that. But it's the chancellors and presidents, they like the idea of all the money coming to them. But, yeah, I think expansion is going to happen. They might have to make a little bit of an agreement, then maybe go to like 20, which I don't know how you're going to do 20-team playoff, but I'm sure you can find a way. But yeah, I look at that and I think the 2014 playoff is coming. Is it way too many teams? Are we getting to the point to where if you get to 24 teams, you're like, who are we playing here?
I think so. I mean, it's just like you're talking about teams that are barely in the top 25, maybe, and I guarantee the 2014 playoff, it might be they add an extra mid-major, or I guess group of 5 team. They don't call it mid-majors in football, but it doesn't. But does that really matter? Because it's like the group of 5 teams haven't really shown much in the playoff anyway. And I'm glad that they're in it, but it doesn't really matter a whole lot. You're talking about like the 20th ranked team in the country, and then you're talking about 4, maybe 5 loss SEC teams that are going to be getting in. I mean, teams that are barely bowl eligible are playing in the college football playoff because of their strength of schedule. That, it's like, I don't know what we're doing here. And I think 16, if you're going to expand, go to 16, make it where it's like the NCAA tournament where, okay, there's no buys. But I almost think the buys almost hurt some of these teams that are like on a roll. They've played week in, week out, and, they have 11 to 12 wins. And then you have, 2 or 3 weeks off. And it's like, okay, that hurts you more than it helps you, instead of just getting in a routine like you have been. Just go 1 to 16, just like almost a region is in an NCAA tournament bracket where 1 plays a 16, 8 plays a 9, et cetera, et cetera.
I think it's a good idea. I don't have a problem with that if that's what they wanted to do. I think when you get to the 24-team playoff, you are getting to the point where, like you said, you're getting some teams in there that just really shouldn't be there. And it's not like you're expanding and it's just like the NCAA basketball tournament expansion. It's not like as if you're expanding the tournament to include, maybe that Western Michigan team that went 11-2 or expanding the playoff to bring in a great mid-major. No, you're going to bring in, like you said, the more crummier of the SEC teams to be in this playoff, or whoever with the Big Ten possibly. Coaches have to love it. I mean, coaches have to love the idea of a 24-team playoff. It's like, God, all we got to do is get to 8 wins, 9 wins. We got a chance of being in the playoff. And if we get in the playoff, that means I get my bonus, and that's going to help me a lot, because I can say, look, we made the college football playoff. We made it. Well, yeah, but you only had 8 wins. And, shoot. With the 2014 playoff, I mean, our conference championships are kind of going out there, and that kind of makes me sad. Conferences have been realigned so much that they don't even look like themselves. And more on that coming up later on in the show. I saw something absolutely ridiculous yesterday during college baseball you will not believe. But anyway, but they don't look like themselves. And now it's like, we don't really need conference championship games. Let's just go to the playoff, which I find terrible. And that's a great accomplishment by your football team to win the conference. It's a real pride thing for your fantasy. We won the Big Ten. We won the Big 12. It's a huge thing. And to just completely kick those to the curb just sounds terrible to me. But I think we could be going that way with this 2014 playoff.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like, it's hard to even determine a champion anymore because you don't even play half the team. We're talking about like K-State this next year. They get out of playing like the top 4 teams in their schedule, and yet they might go and win the Big 12 championship, or be in the championship game at that. So it's like, well, you're not playing everybody anymore, and it's such different. It's just different times, and I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. I wish the Pac-12 never expanded and we could just have what it was a moment, 5 years ago with a 4 team, maybe expanded that way with like 8. But yeah, new times, new day and age of college sports.
Yeah, it's all surrounding money. As we get back to that point again, it's all about the almighty dollar. And particularly when you got to pay players, you need more money, and any way you can get more money, you're going to do it. And that's why you're seeing tournament expansion. Because that gives you more games to make more money on. But yeah, the ACC and the Big 12 were anti-2014 playoff. Now they're pro. So is Notre Dame. And I get why Notre Dame is. I mean, Notre Dame's mad because they got left out last year and they probably should have been in. They're going to be on a warpath this year to win a national championship, I think. But it's going to be interesting, to say the very least, whatever they decide on, which I think this week they're having the SEC meetings in Florida. I think they have them in Destin, Florida is where they have them. Coaches and commissioners and all this stuff get together for meetings for a week, have a little vacation, fun time too, and have the media there and spew some stories. And I'm sure you're going to hear more coaches talk about going to a 2014 playoff in the SEC. The big thing is, will ESPN, ABC allow it to happen? That's the big thing. I mean, that's the sad part about college sports. It used to be ran by the college teams. Now it is ran by television. I mean, think about it. You used to not be able to watch your team play, on Saturday if you wanted to. Now you can see any game you want. If you get enough television channels, you can see any game, any team that you want. And it used to be where, only the top dogs used to get the television, games because they were good. Get what I'm saying? It's just changed so much since, the 80s and all that stuff. And I'm not saying we're in a worse spot than where we were in the 80s, because it is good to be able to see all these games, but at the same time, it has caused all this greed and evil and stuff like that. Greed is evil, as they say. Steve from Binkelman says 12 teams seems more than enough for him. He thinks 12 teams is just right. And honestly, if you look at the results that we've seen these last couple of years, it's been a great playoff. These 12 teams have. It's been really good. I think once again, you get to that 2014 playoff, you're going to see a lot of first round blowouts. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to wait until you get to that Elite 8 part where you're going to finally have some pretty decent games.
I don't hate like that's where I'm back on like the Sweet 16 type of thing, because you don't have any buys. It's just you get the teams in there and then you just go right away and never know what'll happen. And then the only thing about expansion that might be decent is every team will get a home playoff game. I wish they would do home playoff games like the semifinals, but at least that way every team gets a home game in the playoffs, because we need more home games. We don't want the neutral site games. Give us home sites.
Great atmospheres, and I couldn't agree more. That'd be a lot of fun for sure. There you go. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks with the college football playoff, if there is expansion or if they stay the same. I feel like we're going to get bigger before we know it. We'll get to a break. 7:36 Mountain, 8:36 Central Time on a Wednesday, May the 20th. What temperatures are supposed to be in the low 60s today, but overcast and a great chance of rain showers coming up here tonight. I think it even rained a little bit last night if I saw the cement was wet this morning. So we'll get to a break. We'll come back. Henry Chisholm's going to join us next from DNVR Broncos. We'll talk about his thoughts on the Broncos schedule release. Also his thoughts on the Western Conference Finals as the Avalanche begin their play tonight. We'll get to that next with Henry Chisholm next here on the Blitz.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pest Away in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with Skyland Grain. Today is Wednesday, May 20th. Grains weaker on the overnight. July corn finished lower 5.5 at 469 3/4. December corn down 5 1/4 at 492 3/4. July soybeans down 7 1/4 at 12.03. November beans down 7 at 11.95 3/4. Kansas City wheat July contract lower 3 1/4 at $7. December hard red wheat down 3 1/4 at 7.24. Chicago wheat July contract lower 3 1/4 at 6.64 3/4. December soft wheat down 3 1/4 at 6.95 3/4. On the livestock side of things, August live cattle higher 5 cents on the overnight at 247.17. Fears up $1.27 at 369.85. Lean hogs down 82.5 at 97.85. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up 177 at 49,635. The S&P up 27 at 7,405. The Nasdaq up 200 at 29,124. Gold lower $11 an ounce at 4,500. Crude oil down $2.42 at 101.73 a barrel. If you have questions about marketing grain, would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484. In our Kansas City office, you can reach Tyler Ghost, Tom Sluto, or Jared Law at 913-748-3000. Or our Ulysses, Kansas office, Cindy Warner, Austin Wright, or myself, Kate Thompson, at 602-356-7800.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Experience so remarkable, you'll want to leave us a 5-star review. From wet basements to bowing walls, sinking concrete to nasty crawl spaces, whatever your home's facing, you can count on Thrasher to fix it right. With over 34,000 5-star reviews and 50 years as a local family-owned company, Thrasher is a name homeowners trust. Schedule your free home inspection today at gothrasher.com.
Sports talk that's fast, fresh, and always on point.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
This is the Morning Blitz.
All right, we continue here on a Wednesday program. Glad you decided to stick with us here. FB Bank text line remains open for your thoughts and comments throughout the rest of the show. Let's get to our guest of the day. That would be our good friend from DNVR Broncos. Henry Chisholm joins us now on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. Henry, good morning. How are we doing today? Are you ready for the Western Conference Finals Game 1?
No, I'm excited. Some bad news potentially about Cale McCarr. Rumors are he's not playing tonight. But you know, it's hockey, and you can't really believe anything until you actually see who's out there.
I got to ask, how much coverage do you do personally of the hockey stuff?
I do very, very little. So I'm almost all Broncos. I'll help out specifically like the Rockies podcast. There aren't a lot of people who still watch every Rockies game, so when they need a sub, I jump on. But like the Nuggets and the Avs, our beats are so built out at this point that they don't need me very often. So I get to be a fan. So I'll be up there, and then let's see, I think 6:00 start tonight. So we'll be up there watching the game from the stands, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
What's your prediction on this series? Is it Avalanche in 4 or 5?
Yeah, a lot of it depends on Kale. I think 4 or 5 is probably where my mind goes. I think getting through the Wild was the tough test in the West. I'm curious to see what Vegas looks like. It's one of those where when the NHL structures their playoffs the way they do, so you have to get through your division first. So the Wild go against the Stars, who are the second and third best teams in the West. Winner plays the Avs in the second round. But you just don't really know how good those teams are on the other side coming out of the Pacific. So I don't think that the Knights are that special of a hockey team. But, I mean, they're veterans. They're gritty. They'll try to make the game ugly. They'll start a fight if they need to, and who knows, maybe they can muck it up. But I think 4 or 5. Give me 5, and hopefully Kale's playing.
Is there any, like, if they get past this game, is there any chance the Avs don't hoist Lord Stanley's Cup?
Man, I think the Hurricanes are good too out in the East. I mean, they haven't lost a playoff game yet. 8-0 up to this point. Long layoff before they start their next series against Montreal tomorrow. But again, you just don't see them all that often, so it's tough to say what they are for sure. I think that having seen them get through the Wild, after seeing the Wild get through the Stars, I'm pretty confident that the Avs are the best team they have left. But, you know, if Carolina gives them a good run, you can't be too surprised.
Okay, as an Avs follower, are you more of a fan of the Wedgwood or the Blackwood between the pipes?
You have to go back to, November, December, when they're the two best goalies in the NHL. They're averaging like 1.5 goal per game each. They're both in the top 5 in save percentage. And at that point, it felt like either one of them is a great answer. With Blackwood being the guy who you paid to be a starter, and Wedgwood being nearing the end of his career, stepping in every 3 games to lessen the load a bit. But I think down the stretch, Scott Wedgwood just pulled away. I think he's been unbelievable. You know, he got pulled a couple games ago. I think gave up 3 goals on 12 shots. But I'm not necessarily all his fault. Occasionally with the Avs, they get a little bit overexcited, and the defense will get a little too far up in the zone and get a little too aggressive. And next thing you know, it's a 2-on-1 back the other way. So I don't necessarily even think that was Scott Wedgwood's fault. But I lean towards Wedgwood. At this point, when Wedgwood's in goal, it's tough not to be confident.
Henry Chisholm is our guest, DNVR Broncos, even though we're talking about the Avalanche here in Game 1 tonight in the Western Conference Final as they take on the Golden Knights. Henry, we haven't talked to you in a while. Real quickly, kind of give me your thoughts on the draft from the Denver Broncos perspective, how you feel like it went.
I think it went well. It's tough when you're the last team in the league to make a pick. It's tough to do anything exciting. It's tough to come away with, all the NFL reporters saying the Broncos won the draft. So the bar is maybe a little bit lower. But when you look at what they did, Tyler Unyedem with their first pick, number 66 overall, just a really good, big, developmental interior pass rusher. And when you lose JFM, that's what you're looking for. I'd be surprised if he's able to take too many of those snaps as a rookie. He just is going to need a bit more seasoning before he's ready to join the best pass rush in the NFL. But it's one of those spots that the Broncos believe you just invest in and invest in and invest in, and it'll pay off. And it allows you to do things like let John Franklin Myers walk and take his $23 million a year and spend that money elsewhere. And part of the reason they did that was because in the 3rd round last year, they drafted Savion Jones, who that similar 6'5", 280 pounds, just almost like lanky for a defensive lineman, but a guy who's just built to rush the passer. And now between Savion and Tyler Onyeta, you feel like one of those two can step into that role. Again, might be some growing pains. It's not quite the same as having the guy with the third best interior pressure rate in the NFL like you did with JFM, but they were also had 11 more sacks than any other team in the NFL last year. They had 10 more sacks than any other team in the NFL the year before. So if a down year means you're competing for number one, it's not the end of the world. And from there, you go through and see Jonah Coleman, who is a bulky 5'8", a running back from Washington. He can step in. It runs a little bit like J.K. Dobbins, but probably just doesn't have quite as much juice, but can pass protect. And that's the one spot where, the Broncos want to be rolling with J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey, but they were throwing Tyler Bidet out there last year because they needed somebody who could pass protect. And Jonah Coleman might be able to take some of those reps right away. And if not, he's some insurance for J.K. And the last pick I really like, Justin Joly, the tight end. He's not the tallest. He's not the most special athlete, but he's 6'4", 260, and he can catch the football. He has maybe the best hands of any tight end in the draft. The one-handed catches, just the contested catches, being able to jump and go up and get the ball up the seam. I think that this is kind of an Evan Ingram-like pick, with the idea being that you get younger and expectations were high. I mean, Evan Ingram's had 1,000 yards. He's had 100 catches in the NFL. And last year to get 400 and whatever in his 30s, it just didn't go well. So you get somebody to kind of backfill in the 5th round and hopefully can be a little bit more productive in a couple of years. I think they did well. I think they found players who will be useful for them.
Do you think that there is like a position group that can maybe surprise some people as mini camp and OTAs start to, they're right around the corner, or maybe an under the radar guy that many Broncos fans don't know about?
That's a good question. I think, wow, there's so many places you can go. So like receivers, they aren't under the radar, but I do think, when you start with Jalen Waddle and Courtland Sutton, and then you go through and say, well, Pat Surtain, that first drive of the Bills game, the divisional round game in the playoffs last year, 3 catches for 32 yards. He's got to be due for, to be their wide receiver 3 because of the production he had down the stretch. Then you look at Troy Franklin and say, he was 22 years old last year and had 800 receiving yards for the Broncos. And did it while being, not necessarily just a starting receiver with all the other rotational guys. And Marvin Mims, who stepped up once again, the touchdown in the final minutes of the 4th quarter against the Bills, getting the game to overtime. All the big plays he's had for them over the past 3 years now. That competition for the 3rd wide receiver spot is going to be unbelievable. I mean, the Broncos might not have the best receiver room in the NFL just because there might be guys or teams with better top-end talent. But when you look at the depth there, that's one that I can't wait to see. And I guess the corners go hand in hand with that, right? Where, Pat Surtain is going to be your number 1 for a long time. But you have Riley Moss on the boundary, who had a great year other than the penalties, which is a pretty big but. And you have Jaquan McMillan in the slot, who was 4th in the All-Pro nickel voting last year, had the pick in the Bills game to give the Broncos a chance to win it in overtime. And then the depth behind him. They spent a 1st-round pick on Jahdae Barron last year. Chris Abrams-Drain stepped up and played on the boundary. So I think those battles between the wide receivers and the corners are going to be awesome to watch, and could really dictate not just this year, but who gets to stick around down the road, because the Broncos probably can't afford both Jaquan and Riley. So you got to pick between the two. Jahdae probably gets into the starting lineup unless Chris Abrams-Drain can get there. So there's kind of what I'm watching.
Henry Chisholm, our guest, DNVR Broncos on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline this morning. Henry, the schedule was released here this last week. Was there anything that really stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's that opening stretch. The Broncos won 14 games last year. They're going to be underdogs in 5 of their first 6 games this year, which is just unbelievable to think about after they only lost 3 games all of last year. Tied for the most playoff teams an NFL team has ever played in their first 6 games, going up against 5 in those first 6 weeks. And the one team that they'll play that wasn't a playoff team was the Kansas City Chiefs. And sometimes they feel more like a playoff team than not. But you go through, you start the year at Kansas City. That doesn't feel good. You host the Jags the next week. That was your one home loss last year, was the Jags. You host the Rams the next week. They could win a Super Bowl this year. You go to San Francisco and the Chargers back to back before coming back to play the Seahawks. I mean, and that's what stands out. And despite having that incredible 6-week stretch to start this year, they also finished with the Bills, the Patriots, and the Chargers. So you have all of kind of your, no game is easy in the NFL, but your easier games in that middle stretch. But those first 6 weeks, if you go 2-4, you almost feel good about it. 3-3, you probably do feel good about it. And then you're going to be potentially with your back up against the wall with 3 weeks to go against 3 more playoff teams.
My last question, just kind of a quick one here, is Sean Payton. Seems like he's not going to be calling plays next year. Is this a big deal, or is this kind of something you sweep under the rug? It won't be big of a change.
I think it's a big storyline. I think the guys all trust Davis. They want to see what he can do. Very smart guy. And I think sometimes the Broncos got a little predictable. Quick example. Last year, they threw the ball 82% of the time when Evan Ingram was on the field, ran it 18% of the time. And when you do that, the defense catches on to what you do. And you can go through all the things the Broncos have done and find a lot of those trends, maybe not to that extreme. But you just have to avoid those. And part of that is not having a lot of multiple players who are good at multiple things on offense. But I do think Davis Webb solves some of that. I do think Sean Payton's still probably in his year on game days, giving plenty of advice. And, if things don't go well, then in November you might be back to Sean. But it is Davis Webb's job to start the year, and you kind of see if he provides the spark.
He is Henry Chisholm, DNVR Broncos, our good friend there. Henry, thank you so much for the time today, and don't get in too much trouble tonight when the Avs take game 1, all right?
Doing my best. I'm going to do my best.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one. We'll talk soon.
Thanks.
Great stuff there. Henry Chisholm, DNVR Broncos here on the Morning Blitz. There was a quote there he had, Davis Webb, he's a smart guy. Have you ever known an offensive coordinator in the NFL to be a moron? I mean, literally.
You'd hope not. You would hope not.
I mean, have you ever obviously, fans will say that, it's like, oh, he's bad. He's he's a moron. But before a guy, if you're interviewing for a offensive coordinator job in the biggest professional sports league in America, and he's an idiot, but we hired him anyway. He's really smart. Aren't all offensive coordinators usually pretty brilliant if you're doing it at that level? That's what I would say about Davis Webb. All right, let's get to a break. Well, before we do, though, there was some news yesterday surrounding the Chiefs. Rashee Rice violated his probation, and he will sit 30 days in a cell and will miss OTAs and minicamp. Is it time to give up on Rashee Rice?
I'm starting to lean that way too. He hasn't even been that good of a receiver for him either.
All he had to do was just keep his nose clean, but he couldn't. He had to get the wacky tobacco. He got caught up with the wacky tobacco and then violated his probation. And he's now in jail. All right, let's get to our final break. Come back, wrap up a little college baseball thoughts and the walk-off next in the Blitz.
Out here in Western Kansas, every drop of water and every acre matters. That's why producers trust Lazy T Precision Services. Lazy T provides permanent and seasonal moisture probes to help maximize irrigation efficiency. Their crop scouting services help catch insects, weeds, and disease early. And with soil sampling, you'll have the information you need to make better decisions for your crop. Contact Thatcher today at 785-443-0463 or check them out on Facebook. Work smarter this season with Lazy T Precision Services. Precision agriculture built for the high plains. You won't find much better hometown service than what you get when you work with Hitchcock Incorporated of Goodland. With over 40 years of experience in serving agriculture, Hitchcock has been going with you. From valley irrigation systems, parts and service, to utility and flatbed truck boxes, as well as standby generator units for your farmer business needs. They've also expanded their steel inventory recently. No matter what you need, they're here to lighten your load. Helping your farm and ranch succeed for over 40 years, it's Hitchcock Incorporated of Goodland.
They deliver far and wide, here to there, about anywhere. You hear this on the air. It's Mittens TA of Oakley with their modern, shiny fuel trucks and professional, pretty drivers. They deliver on site. They deliver on time. Diesel, gasoline of all types, AV gas, bulk, DEF, and lubricants. Contact the Mittens team, including Lucas Ruggles and Rodney Hoffner at Mittens TA, 24 hours a day on I-70, exit 76 of Oakley, or mitteninc.com.
This Memorial Day, it's time to sit back, stretch out, and save big at Office Works and Home Furnishings in Colby. Right now, everything Lazy Boy is on sale, so you can finally claim the comfiest seat in the house. And with new Serta mattress models arriving soon, you can score great deals on the Serta mattresses currently in stock. Ready to upgrade your floors too? Office Works has a great selection of flooring, including carpet and luxury vinyl tile, ready to go. Celebrate Memorial Day with savings at Office Works and Home Furnishings in Colby.
When it comes to electrical work, Lore Electric does more. Whether it's wiring your home, lighting up your business, or powering your farm, Zach and the crew have you covered. From energy-saving LED upgrades to setting up grain bins in the field, Lore Electric handles residential, commercial, and ag projects with expert care. And when you call, they'll actually call you back fast. For top-notch service and serious know-how, call Lore Electric, because they don't just do more, they care more at Lore Electric.
It's game time.
What time is it? Game time!
You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
Oh, my. Wrapping up a show here on a Wednesday. Been a fun show. Once again, congratulations to Colby Eagle Baseball on a trip to the state tournament. Starting on Monday, they'll play their first round game. Bracket is yet to be released on where they play. We do not know that either at this point in time. We will know that in the next, I'm guessing, 24 hours. That'll all get taken care of. We did have a question yesterday. Garrett reminded me of a Dear Ross and Garrett to get to here. I got to dig this up here real quickly. Where did that go? I got to find it here. Here we go. It's over here. So Dear Ross and Garrett, we'll hit this real quick and then get to the walk-off if we can do this real fast. Here we go. So it has to do with hockey, believe it or not, and not with the Western Conference Finals, but the Eastern Finals. It says, Dear Ross and Garrett, the Montreal Canadiens beat the Buffalo Sabres. This was now 2 nights ago. They faced the Carolina Hurricanes. Can a Canadian team win Lord Stanley's Cup for the first time in 33 years? FYI, the last Canadiens team to win it was the Canadiens in 1993. Is it possible?
I don't know. I mean, that definitely doesn't sound possible the way the Hurricanes have been playing, undefeated in the playoffs. I still think it's the Hurricanes and Avs in this, and then I don't know who wins, honestly. It's such a toss-up between those two teams. I just don't see it happening this year for another Canadian team going to fall short.
I don't think it's going to happen either there, listener. Sorry about that. I just don't think it's going to happen this year either. I just don't think there's enough there for Montreal to get it done. As much as I mean, you got to think about Canada. 33 years since winning a Lord Stanley's Cup, and that's the nation that pretty much invented hockey. You know, it's got to be tough.
Yeah,
it's got to be
their
tough.
sport.
Yeah, it's your sport. You can't win it. That's so brutal and hard. It'd be like if Canada, it'd be like as if the National Football League and the Canadian Football League played a like Super Bowl type game after the end of their seasons, and Canada kept one for 33 consecutive years. That's what it'd be like.
Exactly. Or, the Toronto Blue Jays being good at baseball last year. That's why they cursed the whole hockey world.
That curse has been going on for a lot longer than that.
That's true.
33 years. I mean, shoot, I mean, 33 years, you haven't seen a Canadian team win a Lord Stanley Cup. And me, I was only 4 the last time it happened. So, come on. It's been a little while. All right, to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Did you watch any college baseball yesterday on your day off?
Not a ton, no.
Oh,
Didn't really watch much. I watched the MLB last night, actually.
Man, yesterday, K-State, like I mentioned earlier, came back late last night. They win 9-5 over Utah, continuing their season at least for another day. Big news for Kansas baseball. Dan Fitzgerald wins the Big 12 Coach of the Year for the second consecutive year. He's definitely deserving of it there for KU. So Fitzy getting it done. By the way, Tyson LeBlanc and Bodie Ray also earning first-team selections for the Jayhawks. D. Kennedy named a first-teamer for Kansas State as the all Big 12 baseball teams were announced yesterday afternoon. So I was watching some of the games yesterday in the SEC tournament. I'll tell you what, who's ever got the microphone that's pointed out towards the players, they got to get better about turning that thing down. There is some really bad language that got tossed out over the airwaves yesterday. I mean, wow. I mean, it's the pitchers too. The pitchers are just, it's like they're high on something. I mean, they are just overamped and just say the most ridiculous stuff.
They're probably on a few pre-workout, drinks, whatever they might be. And I don't know, a couple dry pre-workout scoops.
I don't even know if I can count on how many times I heard the pitching team look at the opposing team's dugout and go, bleep you.
College baseball is a different animal. If you've only watched Major League Baseball, you go watch a college game, you are going to be stunned.
But the most ridiculous thing, by the way, is why I love it way more than the pro game. But by the way, the most ridiculous thing I saw yesterday in college baseball was Stanford and Cal playing in an elimination game in the ACC tournament in North Carolina. How dumb is that? I'll tell you, real dumb. Real dumb.
Very.
Almost like 8,000 miles between the two of them. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Blitz.